Welcome to Not Like This. Not Like This. From professional wrestling, horror films, and everything in between. Strap in. And now your hosts, Dale Zawada and Jim Snedeker Jr.
But who knew you had some beatbox skills, Jim?
I had some beats. You remember that from high school?
Yeah, you did the beats for me.
I did for
my little rap songs that you'll never find.
I just was looking again about a month ago. I found my old Walkman. And it still worked. I needed new batteries.
What was in it?
A mixtape that the guy who taught me how to play guitar made for me. That had Pantera on one side and like Alice in Chains and Steve Vai and Joe Satriani on the other side.
That seems very high in sentimental value.
It was. I still had the case too with his like handwritten track list of what everything was. And he did it like recorded it off a CD on like a metal cassette, like a CRO2. You know, they made like special cassettes that were supposed to be as close as you could get to CD quality. And like my Walkman's got a little switch to flip to that type of tape. I had to tweak it. I had to open it up and like there's little pots inside to adjust the speed of the motor. Because like over time, the belts and stuff start to wear out. So it was playing a little slower than I remember.
Oh, no.
So I had to find a song that had like a E note throughout it. So I put in the Black Album.
It's my favorite one.
Put in the Black Album, listened to Enter Sandman, and then I had my tuner out, and I tuned it by ear, like, not by ear, but I compared what I was hearing of the tape to the pitch of the tuner and E, and I got it right about where it needs to be.
Sweet.
And then I found all these other cassettes, and they wouldn't have played at the right speed, but I would have known right away if it was like a guitar song I did or one of your rap songs, and I couldn't find it, but I'm still digging. Forever. I found more tapes in the garage.
It's dead. You can hear the smile on my face. You'll never find it. That shameful era is gone.
Somebody out there has to have a copy. I know people heard it. I know I made you a copy, but it's probably like on some 2 gigabyte hard drive from like 1999. You know, that's like got thrown in the garbage.
Probably.
This predates, for everyone listening, this predates anything useful on the internet. Like there was no MySpace, there was no YouTube, there was no place to just upload this to another server and have it. There was no, SoundCloud, nothing like that. Although if there was SoundCloud back then, you would have had a SoundCloud account and put it up there.
I would have, and what could have been?
Honestly, if there was SoundCloud back then, you would have made more and more songs, I think.
Yeah, somebody would have encouraged me, ironically, and I would have just...
Maybe not ironically. I mean, we're talking about the whole planet Earth is available, you know?
This is true.
My fucking boom arm just keeps falling.
Boom!
But what was cool about that was it was actually pretty decent. Like, it was your first raps ever. The beats were kind of whack, but...
I liked them.
I didn't have like a step sequencer where it's like, okay, now the part will change a little bit and it'll do this. I had like a Casio keyboard that would play a pre-made drum pattern, and I had to play like live on top of it and like record that.
It's a lot of pressure. It's like, here comes the part where I have to do this part.
But I feel like Fruity Loops was involved later on. Like maybe with the second song, I think I made a loop in Fruity Loops and had to like run an aux cable out of the headphone jack of my computer into my 4-track and then like layer on top of that. I don't know, but I remember clearly you can see in the group texts that I remember a lot of the lyrics.
And you scared the shit out of me when you did that. I was like, he found it.
Yeah, I remember him so well that I knew you were like, oh shit, he has it. But
it was just like the Key and Peele gif where he's just sweating profusely. I was like,
uh-oh. It's like pouring down his face.
Uh-oh. Found it.
No, I didn't. But
if you ever find it, I'll lean into it. I'll own it. It was high school. It was like, what, 99? Sophomore year or something? 9/11 hadn't happened yet. It was a good time.
No, it hadn't. I would be willing to like, I'll put up the stuff I made from that time. But it's so boring to listen. There's no words. It's just like a guitar riff with nothing else behind it.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have the same effect. It wouldn't be like the sacrifice that you're making for the show.
Yeah. If that'll be a Patreon exclusive. We gotta make people pay for that shit. I can't just kill myself for no reason. But yeah, I was taking shots. I'm talking about the hot chicks in Spanish class. I'm taking out Limp Bizkit. I'm going, let's go. It's 99. Let's go.
One of the songs kicks off with just talking shit about Limp Bizkit in like the first two sentences. And
God, I was so edgy.
Yeah,
Take that.
What could have been? Like if I had better equipment too. I had a vision for a lot of these beats that I'm like, that's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Can't be done.
I remember you explaining it to me because I remember we go up the stairs of your old house in Dalton. To the left was Jimmy's room. To the right was this other little side room where all his gear was. And he's like, well, this is you've heard of an 8-track, right? Well, this is, and I'm just like, there's a carousel playing in my mind. Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
I didn't understand a word of it. But even back then, Jimmy knew his shit.
That was before, that was what, all the recording back then made me want to go to recording school. Like, I nerded out about that more than like, oh, let's play a show. Like, what if we record some songs? And like, what was cool is the limitations of that made you figure stuff out. Like, oh, we'll have to do this, and we could bounce these 2 tracks down to 1 track, and then it'll free up a couple more spots, Like, you had to figure things out, and
yeah, you got to be crafty.
You had to work within your limitations, and all that did was like make you focus. Like, you were so focused because you didn't have, I have 192 tracks I can use, or an unlimited amount of tracks. Like, you just had what you had. It was really fun. And Dale went hard in the paint, guys.
Man. We're 2020 now. Shit, it might be time for that follow-up. Fuck.
The return. Yeah, it's just a 20-year anniversary, basically.
Hey, it's the return tour that nobody asked for.
The return tour of the tour that never was in the first place.
The tour of looking around the house for the tape. Where the fuck is it?
I think it's a gray one. I got so many gray ones. It's going to be a gray one.
Jim, can I start the show with an apology?
Ooh, certainly.
When you fuck up, you got to own it. You got to be an adult. You got to do the responsible thing. I'm all about accountability. It's a specific apology. It's not to the listeners. It's not to you. It's to two individuals specifically. My buddies Mason, who is a patron. Thank you, Mason. And Charlie, who's not a patron. Yeah, you bastard.
Yet.
Yeah, yet. Like he does not have money for that. But I do want to apologize to Mason and Charlie. I did something very cruel to them this Friday, this Valentine's Day. I said, guys, let's get together. Let's have a little boys' night, a couple drinks, some laughs, and we'll watch a movie. Let's watch a movie.
I gotta hear this shit.
And I was like, because here's the thing. I was going to watch this movie regardless, by myself, with friends, and I did not want to watch this movie alone because... You know how they say you shouldn't, drink alone and do these things it's bad. That's what this would have been. I made Mason and Charlie join me and watch Rob Zombie's latest film, 3 from Hell. And guys, I apologize yet again.
Oh boy.
Jim, he got worse. I can't believe this fucking Rob Zombie. And I was trying to think, why do I get so hot about this? And here's why. You've got free reign. You've got a decent budget. This one was obviously probably the smallest of all of them. But like you were saying, sometimes when you don't have much, you got to work with what you have. You got to get creative. If I had a fraction of what this motherfucker has on these movies, it'd be game over. But here he is with his $2 million budget, which is, small, but on the independent scene, that's fucking massive. And there he is, not getting shit out of his actors, just doing the lamest. Every other scene, it's Classic song, slow motion, stylized footage. Every other fucking scene's like, I love this old Led Zeppelin song. I'm gonna play it, and she's gonna do slow motion down the stairs while she goes, I'm baby, and I just want to just jam a screwdriver through my eyes.
It sounds awesome.
Right before the movie started, I said, maybe it's good. Maybe he learned. Maybe there were some producers getting involved in this one because it's so low budget. He's just going to do his thing, and we get to see Rob Zombie. If this was what Rob Zombie does with Free Reign, it just wasn't good, and it drives me crazy because I think, and you can give me your opinion on him as a musician and whatnot, but I think like in that area, I think is fantastic. You know, I jam out. I like a bunch of those songs, and catchy, this, that, and the other. But in my realm, in my area, he's a fucking hack, and it drives me crazy. Stop it. Stop giving him money. Stop giving him opportunities. He got his trilogy out of the way. Go back to the stage because this shit just isn't for you.
As far as music is concerned, he's obviously like a vocalist and not a singer. You know what I mean? There's the difference. He has like a growly, stylized delivery, but it's unique to him. It sounds like him, when he's doing his Rob Zombie thing. I've never had a problem with it. I feel like the peak of what he's done musically was the second White Zombie album, and it was sort of dark, creepy. It had its weird like Circus Carney sounds and shit, but it didn't have the camp that the stuff before and after it had. Like Dragula, like I'm driving in Grandpa's car from the Munsters. Like, oh, that's cute. Living Dead Girl, like catchy song. You know what I mean? Like it's a rock song. It probably charted pretty high, but it definitely didn't have. I just felt like that second White Zombie album was sort of dark and creepy, and the guitar tone was crushing. The drum sound is like one of the best metal drum sounds ever, in my opinion.
Ooh,
Terry Date produced it. He produced a lot of the Pantera records, and it has a sound, and it's awesome.
And I love that sound. There's always, because he's a horror guy, so he's always got little quotes and stuff from these obscure movies in there and all that kind of shit. And it's kind of, I've heard it described as overproduced, but I love that shit. And it's a genre that fits well with me. Just fucking stay over there, bro. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
It's just the material was darker. Like Living Dead Girl's kind of a fun, like creepy song.
Yeah.
Dragula is obviously just like a fun song. The songs on that second album, it's called Astro Creep 2000. They're dark. They're about like Charles Manson and satanic shit and like way creepier, darker stuff. And there's like this droning, heavy song towards the end called Blood, Milk, and Sky that's just amazing. It's got like some sampled vocals in it, that like will repeat an octave higher. It's just got this, puts you in this Sonic headspace. And when White Zombie broke up and it was just like his solo project, it just I didn't get into it. Like I wasn't against it from the start. Like, I'm not gonna like this is gonna be bad. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Well, he's still doing stuff, and like basically White Zombie was his band anyway. So like this probably won't be much different. It's just like a record label thing, like, oh no, this isn't White Zombie. This is just Rob Zombie. I have a different contract, and that band is dissolved or whatever. Yeah. But I didn't get into it as much. It was catchy, but it wasn't heavy. And I think people, the people that automatically discount him as just being like an act, like you go see him live, it's a crazy stage show. He likes horror movies and it's campy, silly stuff.
I'd probably love it.
That second album is legit as fuck as far as metal albums go. And you can't I feel like if you don't hear that, you don't know what you're listening to. So yeah, in the music world, there is. It's sort of like, oh, he started out in music, but it's sort of like he's always been the weird vintage horror movie guy, and it's just like a campy thing. People automatically just discounted them. They're like, oh, they just got popular because Beavis and Butthead watched one of their videos, and then they were in Airheads when they're after their first album. Yeah, you remember in Airheads when they go Chris Farley's the cop and he pulls the nipple rings off that dude. They're at a White Zombie concert.
Oh, okay. Don't remember that specific part. Yeah. I remember the nipples, but I don't remember the band or anything.
And then their second album came out, and it More Human Than Human was like the big single, and that blew up. It was all over MTV. They played the VMAs. Yeah, it's a banger. But there's some deep cuts on that album that are just heavy ass fucking just metal bangers that are legit.
Yeah.
And then after that, it kind of.
That might be another reason why he bugs me. Because it's like, okay, you're in the business, the music industry, so it's kind of easy to kind of step over this line over here. I know some people, suddenly I'm making movies. Okay, nice. You earned it through your hard work with music, and now you're going to get some opportunities with movies, and we're done. Please, we're done with this. We've got to be fucking done. When you've peaked with House of a Thousand Corpses, which I do enjoy because it's weird and it gets supernatural and Dr. Satan and this guy's living underground, and I'm like, yeah, thank you for the weird. I love the weird. And then it gets true crimey with Devil's Rejects, and they're on the run, and it's gritty and realistic, and we're going to put gritty shit on the filter. Blah, blah. And same stuff with this movie. 3 from Hell. It's very true crime, very podcasty, very, like documentary. We're covering the trial. We're covering, like, there they are walking from cell to cell. So we're getting that kind of shit. And I mean, then it just kind of comes and goes. There's no consistency with that at all, because why would we try? And I can't anymore. This has to be it. And I think him as a person rubbed me the wrong way. Not that I know him, but I do know his quotes when he shat on Halloween. Mm-hmm. He's just like, I don't know, John Carpenter do that. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. That's no good. I'm going to do it my way. It's like, who the fuck are you? And then with this movie, 3 from Hell, Sid Haig. RIP. R.I.P. Sid Haig
his
passed
last
away.
Movie, right? Probably.
Yeah, and he was very ill during this, so he's only in like a scene and a half, and it's all sit-down stuff because he's hurting. And it's like, okay, I've been in a situation where you have to write around things. It's like, okay, Sid's hurt. Sid's ill. We'll figure it out. We'll write him out. It's wrestling. Oh, he's hurt. We'll write him out. You ask too much from this guy. So, okay, Sid's ill, but we need fucking Captain Spaulding, which is a cool character. Once again, House of a Thousand Corpses. I do enjoy it. They're all in prison, essentially, and then they kind of break out and whatever, which, fine. But Captain Spaulding's in prison, so Sid's got a couple scenes in there, and they're kind of interviewing him, like, do you ever regret about any of this kind of stuff? And he does very well for his situation, but one of the other characters is kind of like bad-mouthing him, and they're describing him. They're like, oh, this geriatric old fuck, he's got one foot in the grave, and this kind of shit. And I'm like, that's your friend, and it's very true. Like, don't say that shit. Put him over. This is the last thing that you'll ever do with him. Put him over.
Yeah.
Don't describe his literal situation, because he does not look good in this movie either. It's actually very sad, those scenes. I just don't like Rob Zombie. Fuck you. Fuck you.
I get it. It's couldn't it be one of those situations like your friend wants you to do that. Your friend leans into it,
Yeah, tell him how I'm dying and I throw up blood. Can you put that in your movie? No. Tell him about how I cut that hooker's throat and threw it in the locker room and like do some cool shit. Put him over. Ugh.
Yeah. Good night. I love you. Good night. boy's going to bed.
Champ.
Good night, champ.
Not champ.
I get it. But
Okay.
but I think my problem is I feel like I wasn't around back then. I definitely wasn't. I wasn't, even if I was my age now, back when White Zombie was taking off, there wouldn't have been the resources to get the inside scoop as to what people really think in the business about them. You know what I mean? They're just sort of there. But I always felt like he was a movie guy first, like fan-wise. You know, like he was just like, I want to take my love of monster movies and make it into a band and like have a really cool stage show.
And that's awesome.
So he did that. And then he was like, when House of a Thousand Corpses came out, this music guy makes a movie. And you're like, you know what? That was cool. That was a cool horror movie. Like, you know, I didn't expect that. That was good. But then I felt like he was like, okay, I'm in. I can just sort of keep churning out these fun songs. But really, I'm going to make these movies.
Do you remember?
I don't know. I feel like I don't have any right to be shitting on anybody because I haven't done anything. But I felt like he was never really fully in either one of these things. It wasn't like he had put out 15 albums and was constantly evolving and like, you know, like,
yeah,
he did 2 albums as White Zombie. And then he had like maybe 1 Rob Zombie album before House of a Thousand Corpses, or maybe 2. It was so hard to keep track of because it was like after that second album, it just everything just was like the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. But do you remember? Do you remember?
Mike,
when you got your White Zombie, we go to Rob Zombie, and then you heard Rob Zombie is making a horror movie. Do you remember that? Because I do, and I was like, okay, all right. I was like, I know this motherfucker likes horror. Hey, y'all, we might be in for a fucking treat. What were your thoughts during that time?
I was probably cautiously optimistic that it was going to be a cool. I felt it was going to have like a weird vibe to it, and it wasn't going to be some sort of cookie cutter or traditional horror movie. That it was going to have a lot of his signature sort of wacky style in it, as far as, you know, just like the way the horrible things looked and like what he was into and shit. Because he's a great artist too. Like he draws a lot of cool shit.
Yeah.
So I felt like he's just an artistic guy overall. So it would probably be decent. And I was surprised. Like I was better than I thought it was going to be. But I do remember, yeah, he's going to make a horror movie. I thought like, yeah, that just makes sense.
Because then House of a Thousand Corpses comes out, and I remember being like, that was all right. I expected better. But I had no idea that would be his best work. Where when we look at Halloween 2, Lords of Salem, 31, which don't even watch that shit. 3 from Hell. It's like, yeah, I guess he peaked early. House of a Thousand Corpses, 2003. And God bless. Okay, I mean,
rough,
right,
I guess. I don't know. Not rough for him. He's doing great, but
oh yeah,
he seems
good for him.
I don't even know how to put it.
Stop wasting my time. Stop wasting my time with these movies. And it's my fault. I mean, no one's making me watch them, but these are opportunities. Like production companies, they only have so much money. They only have so many slots in theaters, and one of them has to go to Rob Zombie. I don't like that.
I feel like he's a guy that just is like artistic and but he's like got a really strong work ethic, you know? Seems like he works really hard, like he's busy all the time, and that those people can like outwork their whatever natural ability there is. I don't know.
Can you try harder? Like at what point
that might be him trying his hardest. And it's
is anybody saying anything? Does he see that and nod approvingly? Yes, this is my masterpiece. It is. It's not 2 from Hell. It's 3 from Hell. Haha. And it's weird because the first one, House of a Thousand Corpses, is super creepy and weird and supernatural, and the rest and everything after that, it's like the true crime, gritty shit. It's like, well, I thought you were a horror guy. Now you're going gritty thriller guy, I guess. Because these movies don't have a genre.
I don't know, and I don't have
can list it as horror. Not a scary thing in that fucking movie.
I don't have a good analogy either. Like, not even an analogy, but like a sabermetric comp, like a statistical comp to this guy. Like, I can't think of maybe like a filmmaker that made a really good album or vice versa. You know what I mean? Because his music is very, very, it's got a niche, you know? It's like, it's very specific. And so it's not like he was, it's not like he was a pop musician, you know? Like, he wasn't on top of like pop charts all the time. He had like a metal horror movie type person following, you know?
Yeah. Everything lined up. And then it's just the execution and quality of these motherfuckers. Like, the bar should have been high and did not even get close to it. Like, he's the kind of guy, it's like, hey, Rob Zombie's making a movie. Like I said, it's like, yeah, I'd probably bet money that this is going to be fucking killer. Spooky, scary, weird. And then just not so much. It's definitely not, it's just not well made. Don't waste your time with it, Jim. We have to change the subject. It's been damn near half an hour. Me just ranting about Rob Zombie.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I didn't plan on seeing this, and I won't. And I'll always take it hard for what happened with Halloween, like how that whole thing happened. But like, whatever. Like, this guy is successful. He works hard. Whatever. I don't have to watch it. I can still listen to Astro Creep 2000 all the time, and I do. I'll just leave it there.
I've got some of his songs on my workout playlist. I don't give a fuck. I love the music, hate the movies. Let's go back to the music.
Give me okay. Jesus so Christ. I'll talk about the music one more time, and then we can move on. But okay. I feel like, and this is just all feelings. It's hard to like. I didn't really deep dig, but it's hard to find this information. I feel like the guitarist. Jay from White Zombie, I feel like the rest of the band doesn't get much credit. You know, I feel like people, because he went from White Zombie to Rob Zombie, and he still sounds like Rob Zombie, and he was still successful, that the general music buying public doesn't give the other members of the band enough credit for the sound of that second album.
Jim, are you saying that I'm giving Rob Zombie credit when I probably shouldn't even be giving him credit for that?
No, because like if you're into like Living Dead Girl and Dragula and Super Beast and something like his solo songs, then yes.
No. Okay, gotcha.
Then you're not giving him too much credit. But like, I feel like there was a personality to those riffs and guitar parts and stuff, and like a heaviness to the sound that he probably didn't. Maybe like at a high level, he was like, I want a deep guttural metal sound, but like at a micro level, he had nothing to do with the way that sound turned out.
Like, you know, it's that individual.
Yeah, him and Terry Date. Like Terry Date did the Pantera albums, right? So Jay was like, I want to sound like that guitar sound on that last Pantera album. Like, that's what we're going for. And they did like a variation on it with some more layering. I won't get into the wonky technical part, but I can't imagine Rob Zombie is like watching there and like, yeah, maybe we take a couple more notches out of that, you know, the 700 hertz on that. But for me as a guitarist and a metalhead, like the sound of that is the first thing I'd identify with, and then the songs are after. But the actual tone and that sonic footprint of that album is what resonates with me so much. And I feel like he gets way too much credit for that at times. Maybe. I don't know. I don't go looking around for like, how much credit do people give him for White Zombie? It's just a feeling I get.
Yeah, so it's like White Zombie's like the wrestler's wrestler, and Rob Zombie's John Cena for the general public.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, it's still
Idiots like me.
WWE, right? Same thing.
Jim,
Dale.
the number one movie in America this week was
Sonic the Hedgehog?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Good.
Isn't that amazing?
Great. And
we
selfishly,
wanted video game. Yeah, we wanted video game movies.
I watched it this weekend.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I saw it.
I did. This is
My 5-year-old is obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog, and Patreon patron and listener and best friend Dave of the show,
best friend.
Dave's son's birthday party was this weekend, and it was at a movie theater. And
I didn't know about this.
We're all going to get together. We have a little party, go see the movie, and finish the party after the movie. So I told Jack about this, and he lost his shit. And all week he's like, "Is it Sunday? Is it Sunday? Is it Sunday? Is it Sunday yet? It's a couple more days till Sunday, and then we get to see Sonic."
Two.
So we saw it. I got to see it, and was it good? Was it great? No. Was it good? No. Was it unwatchable? No, it wasn't unwatchable. And
was it a movie? Yes.
It was not too long. It was mildly entertaining at times for an adult, and my 5-year-old loved it. And was it as bad as Super Mario Brothers, the movie? No way. Not even close. You know why? Because Sonic is a blue hedgehog who runs really fast. So they got that right. And they worked in sort of enough of the Sonic universe, which most general people don't give any fucks about anyway. But they worked in enough of it in the beginning where, like, they show you his home planet and it's got, like, it's laid out like the video game where there's, like, ramps everywhere and shit. Then he goes to Earth. So you get some of that, and it looked like the people chasing him in the beginning, they looked like Knuckles, like they had long red dreadlocks. And then
this is great.
So then he goes to Earth, and it's like a buddy. It's like Turner and Hooch, and he's Hooch, but he talks. And James Marsden, Scott Marsden, because he played Scott Summers. He played Cyclops, so he was Scott Summers. It fucked me up there. But James Marsden is the main character. And he's pretty good.
He is charming.
Jim Carrey was really good.
Okay, good. I was going to ask. Jim Carrey.
He doesn't get Jim Carrey-y. He gets Jim Carrey-y in spots. But I feel like this is a weird way to describe this, but I feel like he really tried. Like he wasn't just like, yeah, I'll just phone it in. Like, he went in there and made this Robotnik person a character, and you could tell he's inside the psyche of this person. Like, by the way he's playing some of the scenes, like, he knows what's going on in their backstory probably more than we do. Maybe the writer did. Maybe he's creating some of this stuff, but he's sort of like an OCD guy that's like obsessed with his own intellect, and he takes it. He brings it.
Yeah.
It wasn't super funny. Some parts were kind of funny.
Was it supposed to be?
No, it was supposed to be mildly childlike funny.
When the Robotnik scenes are there, and I don't know if it's him isolated or if it's just him and Sonic, like in the games, but when his scenes are there, are you supposed to laugh or supposed to feel like, I don't like this guy, Daddy?
Oh no, you're supposed to laugh a little bit, but he is not just like a bumbling idiot. You're supposed to be uncomfortable that he's there. Like, he's getting close. He's gonna find them.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a good.
Tone is important.
Sort of like the bad guy in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Like, I'm gonna find this little character guy that's running around here, and I'm gonna get him, and I'm gonna take him. I'll find out what makes him so special, even if I have to take him apart and dissect him.
Okay.
You're not supposed to think like, oh, this is a kooky, funny villain. It's neat. It's cool. There's a lot of nods to the game in ways with, like, his tech and, like, the robot things. Only in tiny little spots. Like,
that's fucking
very beginning and very end. But like it's not like the score is the Sonic music. You know, it's not very noticeable.
There had to have been a way where they could have made that a motif.
It's probably budget thing. That's my guess. They don't want to spend any extra money on that. I don't know. Well, that's because it's very possible that
they
own rights to maybe they don't.
We can only use 6 seconds of it.
You remember like the WCW stuff when it went over to WWE, like there were some rights issues with some of the music, even though they owned the video library and all that. They didn't own the licenses to some of the music, like the shit where like Metallica's playing Sting's theme song and stuff. You know, like there may have been. I feel like there may have been.
Don't make the movie. If you don't have the Sonic the Hedgehog music, you don't make the movie.
The music,
until you get it.
The music of the 80s and 90s video games is very underappreciated. And so much of what makes my memories of these games great is the music. I was playing the Friday the 13th game on NES today. And I'm like, this music is godlike. Like for how shitty the game is, the music is awesome. The music for Castlevania. The Castlevania game music is legendary. It stands on its own aside from the game as being amazing. And this is just shit where like we took it for granted in the 80s. Like, yeah, it's a game, it's got to have music. But the music is amazing. Chrono Trigger, I'm starting to play through again for SNES. That music is amazing. So I get what you're saying. The Sonic music was also really good. It was part of the memories of those games being great. The music was awesome. It was okay. It was an okay movie.
Okay.
It wasn't like I felt like, you know, a 5-year-old will watch some movies that just no one else but a 5-year-old can tolerate. This wasn't one of those. But it wasn't. This is not X-Men of video game movies. This is not like this is going to get it started. But I'm glad it made money. I said that. It started with that because they reveal. They do a little post-credit scene where they reveal a character that my son was very excited to see, who was only in one little scene at the very end. And I'm like, well, if it makes a lot of money, bud, you'll get to see this character in the next movie. So I'm glad it made a lot of money, just so my son can see this character in the next movie. That's all I care about.
I did see the Wikipedia for that just now, and that was also my favorite character as well. So that is very good. What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes for Sonic the Hedgehog is? The critic score and then the audience score, because there's a 30% difference.
Wow! Holy shit! Okay, can you give me? Can I buy a clue? Can you tell me the 30% difference? Yeah. Which one's higher? The critics, the audience score is higher. Okay,
people definitely love this more than the critics did.
I'm gonna say audience scores like 50 and the other one's 20.
You're going to go 50-20?
50-20.
I'm going to give you one more chance to go higher.
Audience score
50-20 ain't going to cut it.
Is 72 and critic score is 42. You said 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 72-42. Okay. There it is. The audience score isn't 72. It is 94.
What?
People fucking love this movie. And critics gave it 63. That's where they landed.
That's okay.
It's fine. That matches what you said.
Yeah, I mean, there were parts. It was watchable. I definitely wouldn't recommend it to someone like, hey, you got to check out the Sonic movie. But if like we're looking at who the target audience is and who they're trying to get to go see this, you know, it's perfectly fine. And Sonic jumps off the screen. He looks good.
They fixed him.
He looks like Sonic. Oh God, did he look scary before?
Yeah.
We
never talked about that shit. We never talked about that.
No, he looked scary.
They fixed it too quickly. There was too much backlash.
It was fine. There were some funny parts. There were parts where me as an adult laughed. There were some funny parts. There's a part towards the end that doesn't spoil part of the plot, but there's this townsperson that throughout the whole movie people thought was crazy because he saw Sonic and he tried to catch him. Everyone thought he was nuts. But then at the end, it turns out, well, shit, there is a Sonic. And they're like the big fight scenes at the end with Robotnik, and this guy wants to help, and he's just standing there with a chainsaw in the middle of the street. It's like crazy towny guy with a chainsaw running, and I just lost it. And every time they showed that motherfucker holding the chainsaw, I just started dying laughing. Because he'll just be in the background just holding a chainsaw in the street. And I lost it. I don't think that was written to be as funny as I thought it was. But I laughed pretty hard. And it's got like some heartwarming things, and like obviously they pal around and they become friends. Like you could see all the stuff coming. But it was fine. Like when you look at this, obviously in the game Sonic doesn't go to Earth and befriend a human. But they have to make this a movie.
So that's what they do. He's like, "Hey, I'm a smart aleck. I'm Deadpool, but I'm blue."
Yeah, not that over the top. He's a kid, right? Like he watches the other kids play baseball from afar, and he's sort of like, I want to do that. And then he's so fast, he plays baseball with himself. And at the end of that scene, he like holds up his hand, like high five, like I hit a home run off myself, and myself missed the catch, and then myself waved me in home, and then like there's nobody there to high five him because he's got to be like hidden all the time. He's got to be a secret. Otherwise, it's too dangerous. So like in the very beginning, he leaves his homeworld because these people are after him. And this owl, like the rings, the coins in the game, the rings are like portals to other dimensions. So he throws up a ring and he jumps in it to go to another planet. And he had been through some other planets and kept having to run, when these people find him. And then he ends up on Earth, and like it's time for him to leave again, but he doesn't want to leave Earth. He's like sad because now people know who he is, and he actually has a friend, and so it's more like he's more played like a kid, not like I'm a smart aleck, hot shot, I'm the hero. Like obviously he is the hero, right? But they play him like a kid that never had friends, that never got to play, that had to lived by himself in this hole, and like just sort of stole radios and shit, and like like memorabilia. Like built up a collection. I'm trying to think. There was something that popped into my head when I saw it where it reminded me of something like this, but I can't really put my finger on it. Like, I don't know, almost Star-Lord-like, where like he's not really part of that world. He's gone, and he's got a couple of things that he hangs on to, but he's always trying to sound cool and tough, but inside he's messed up. He's got some messed up past.
I like that. I mean, you can see just with your description how this got 94. Because you make me almost want to watch it.
Yeah,
it's there's some laughs, and there's a little kiddie morality tale, which is all you need and all you want from a movie like this.
Mm-hmm.
You stay true enough to the lore. You give us that Sega. Did they give you the Sega?
In the beginning, yeah.
Okay. You hit us with the music as often as you can. Realistically, without it being over the top and comical, you do the music for any of these movies as often as you can because the joke like, God damn, they just really love this music. That's where the line is. But otherwise, you play it. But it sounds like they did an interesting job. I mean, Jim Carrey was odd, and Robotnik's like a fat guy. So right away, I was like, that's bad casting, which they're doing with Uncharted with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Great guys, awesome actors, of course, but just terrible casting. So the Jim Carrey thing was weird. But.
Yeah, he's not fat, but and I like the way they create him as a storyline element. He's from Earth. He works for the government, and they want to find out what caused this energy surge in this little town. And he's going. Okay. It's very E.T. Like very big government's here. We're gonna find where's this little creature from another planet, and he's hiding him. So it's like a lot of Elliot E.T. type moments too.
Do you think it would have been better if he was an alien chasing him?
No.
Okay.
No, it would have, I think I can see a version of that existing, and that's just, I think it's too hard for the audience to too much for the audience to have to sift through.
But okay, what if because I don't know how the movie executes any of it. But what if like he was in charge of that Knuckles army chasing him, and they're the only two that get kind of zapped to Earth? So, and he's like, "What is it?" Like they're both kind of there, like fish out of water, essentially.
I don't think it would have played as well
Okay.
because you lose the ET part of it, and
Gotcha.
that's essential. Like they're running from people, so then they're trying to frame James Marsden, like as being a terrorist. It adds some cool wrinkles to it that would just be like, had anybody found out, everyone would have been a neutral, like the government and the military and the army would have been like neutral parties to this like battle that was happening on Earth. And this sort of not raises the stakes, but sort of adds layers to it where it's like, can we trust the government, or like, what are they really doing here? And I think it's easier for like people to just sit down and pick up, and it's sort of the opposite of how like there was a version of a Superman movie that was being written that was like, well, Lex Luthor's also going to be from Krypton and he goes to Earth too. Like why you're just making this way too hard for people to want to follow. So I think it's okay, because honestly, I don't remember where Robotnik is from in the game storyline anyway.
Yeah, they never really touched
They're all
on it.
animals.
Well, I'm sure they did.
And he comes to like enslave these animals.
Yeah, it's like, here's that human trying to catch these animals, and he's so aggressive with his little machines. And that was the thing. He just had like, well, how about this robot? How about this one?
He's got a ton of those.
Good.
He got a ton of those. He's like a super genius, He's got a ton of robots and machines, and he wants machines to do everything. And they give him some flaws to make him sort of comical at times, but he's never like a buffoon, ever. He's always like the smartest person in the room in every scene that he's in. And then I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a scene at the end. It's not really a post-credit scene. It's sort of like as the movie's wrapping up, where we see a Robotnik that, not fat, but he resembles the Robotnik more from the game in a lot of ways.
That's fun.
Yeah, and it makes sense the way they do it.
Is Sonic 2 going to be amazing?
It could, you know what? I honestly think it could be. Like where they left this off, it could be. But if they try to just do this again and like formulaically,
yeah,
just like we'll copy this last one all over again, it won't be as great. If they go harder in the paint, like it looks like they're gonna try to at the end, I think they could make it even better.
I think I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, because I've never seen a studio go, oh, you don't like what we did with the CGI? We'll delay the movie and fix this CGI. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, granted, it was a fuck up, but they did address the fuck up.
And they're trying to make people happy. Like, it's not like, no, I'm the director. I see Sonic like this. They're like, oh, yeah, you're right. We're making this for you guys. It's like a nostalgia video game movie. We're not going to...
I mean... Even if their goal's like, we got to make the money, they're not going to see the movie if it looks like this weird shit. So even if it's, like they want to do it for the people, that'd be amazing, Jim. I'd love to live in this world.
No, I meant the money too. Like we want people to go see this. It's not like somebody's singular artistic vision. Like it's got to be my way, or get another director to do. It's like we want people to come see a Sonic movie.
But the fact that they're aware enough to do that in such a short time, they have plenty of time for the second one. So they've seen. The movie's out now. They're obviously watching the response, and I'm sure we're not the only ones excited about some of those mid-credit scenes.
They take shots at Mario too.
Ooh,
not the shitty movie.
Nintendo, we coming at you, Nintendo.
But there is like a storyline important element of this movie that is a shot at Mario across the board.
Is it pipes?
No.
Okay. Man.
No.
Shots.
No, but as soon as he said it, I'm like, I hope this comes back later, and I hope it comes back into play, and it does over and over and over again. And I hope everyone else picked up on it. There's no way it's not a shot at Mario.
I think you're just going to have to tell us.
So I'll give you the spoiler alerts in case everyone's
Spoiler.
dying. So
support us on Patreon and Facebook, Not Like This Podcast.
yeah, here's the spoiler. So I told you he throws a ring and he goes to a different dimension, like a different world. Well, he's got this piece of paper with all these worlds crossed off that he's been to. He's on Earth now, and when he leaves Earth, he's got like a couple of options, and the next place he has to go to is just a mushroom world. All that's there are mushrooms, and he's like, it's going to be boring, it's stupid.
Oh.
No one else is there. The stupid mushroom planet.
Mushroom world. Fuck this.
Right? Like the Mushroom Kingdom. Well, and like in the game, in Mario, you're jumping on these big mushrooms and stuff, like in those certain levels.
And I think there were several mushroom kingdoms.
Right.
Like,
well, he has to go to this mushroom world.
Shot.
And it comes up over and over again, like, I don't want to go to this dumb, stupid mushroom planet. I want to stay on Earth where everything's awesome. And what they do at the end is they throw the ring to the mushroom world, and they send Robotnik's ass to there. And then Sonic stays here with us. So he goes nuts being trapped in this place. There's no other living things other than mushrooms. So he goes crazy and like shaves his head, and his mustache is all huge, and like he's nuts in this mushroom planet. But he's gonna like figure out a way to get out of there and go to other worlds. So it comes up over and over again. Then we see the shitty mushroom world at the end with Robotnik.
That's hilarious. So he does the Riddler from Batman Forever?
No, it's
like,
almost like a weird like Tom Hanks, and like he has a pet rock head that he talks to, like a Wilson thing in Castaway.
Gotcha.
And he like throws the head and then walks to where the head went to like follow the head. Yeah, it's like deserted desert island crazy, and not like Riddler crazy. He's sort of already Riddler crazy, but not that annoying. And at the very end, since we're deep into the spoilers and people have stopped,
tell me.
The very end cameo is Tails. He comes to look for Sonic.
Yeah, that'd be looking for Sonic. They know each other.
Yes.
Established.
Yeah, we think Sonic's here. We have to find him. He's the only one that can help us. That type of thing.
Oh my god!
So what I told Jack is like, he's like, Jack totally logically, like his conclusions make perfect sense based on like what the information he's been given. He's like, yeah, then maybe at the end of the next one, the very end, we'll have Knuckles, and at the end of the very next one, we'll have Amy Rose, and at the very, I'm like, no, but I think like if this next one comes out, we're probably gonna have like Tails and Knuckles, like there's probably gonna be a bunch of them. It's going to change where these people are coming to, like Robotnik is after all these animals, and now Sonic has to go help them, like how the game is. I don't think they're going to give us just Tails in the whole next movie. And
if
then
they were smart,
the very end they'll give us Knuckles. I think.
Hey, can Jack be the president of Sony? Because that's how you do this kind of shit. You milk it. You don't just blow your load. Here's 5 villains. No.
Yeah, I don't think they do the 5 villains, but I can't.
Well, you don't have to give us Tails and Knuckles. You can give us Tails. Like, why share that?
I could see them giving us Tails and Knuckles is still a bad guy and Tails is a good guy, and then towards the end they have to work together, and then in the next movie it's Sonic and Tails and Knuckles, and then Amy Rose is there.
That's when they have to rescue Tails,
and then there's Shadow, the bad Sonic.
And they hint at that guy in the second one,
right? And then in the third one, he's the bad guy.
Yes.
Yeah, they got plenty of money to make. They know what they're doing.
You, and your very small son. We could run Sony, and so many other these companies.
We could.
It's easy. I just saw a fucking thing not too long ago. Did you see that Robin Hood movie last year, or you heard of it, or saw the trailers? Robin Hood. Jamie Foxx was in it.
Was that?
If that helps you.
That was more than last year ago.
Okay, a couple maybe. Sure.
But this is so we're talking. There was the Russell Crowe one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Then there was the Jamie Foxx one with.
Are those not the same ones?
No, they're not. The Jamie Foxx one. The Jamie Foxx one was a Guy Ritchie Robin Hood, I think.
Hang on.
And they are not the same thing.
You are right. You are correct. 2018, so yeah, a couple years ago.
Yes, but the most recent one, no, I did not see that.
But yeah, I just saw this thing about how the script was amazing, and it won this huge bidding war, like one of the biggest script bidding wars that they've had in a while. And then Ridley Scott was like, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck all this up."
Oh, that one, the Ridley Scott one was the.
Which one is that? That's the one I'm talking. Which one is? Why are there so many Robin Hood movies?
The Ridley Scott one. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Guy Ritchie didn't do this. He did King Arthur. That's what I'm thinking of. No, this is Otto Bathurst who did this one you're talking about. The bidding war one with Russell Crowe. The Ridley Scott one. That was the Russell Crowe one. That was like 14 or 13.
Then I'm mistaken. Which one? What's that called? All right, yeah, 2010. But this one, let me make sure it's the same guy. Yes. Amazing script, huge bidding war, and then Ridley Scott comes aboard and fucks all this shit up. And it's just, you hate to see it. You hate to see it. So, like, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it could go south big time. But I think they know what they're doing. I think they well, after I had seen it, I thought I bet this makes a lot of money. It's safe. It gives you what you want. It's a big name. It's not Mario, but Mario is sort of, as weird as Mario is, you think Sonic is like, that's just about as weird. It's a fast hedgehog that saves animals that's enslaved by a fat guy in a, like, how are you going to make that a movie that's believable? They bring him to Earth. They just make him a kid on Earth. And I feel like Super Mario Brothers, like, you can, Sonic's a little blue animal. You can't make, if you're doing a live action Mario, you kind of expect them to be a real human being and not like an animated character in a world that he's not familiar with, you know? But he's so cartoonish and stylized that it's like, if you make him a person, it's going to be weird. Whereas, like, Sonic, obviously, you're not going to make a person play Sonic and, like, wear a blue face.
Well, it was almost as bad for a second there.
I mean, it looked bad, sure, yeah.
It's almost as bad. But $57 million opening weekend. The best video game film opening ever. Ever.
Good. So money-wise, we're good.
That's got to be good for them. The budget was $95 million.
They'll make money eventually, I think.
The worldwide gross is $100 million. So they're already, I mean, you never know if the budget has the advertising. Those numbers always are a mystery.
True. Good point.
But yeah, money-wise, I think they'll be fine, and they'll make some profits here. And Sonic 2. Who knew?
Yeah, Sonic 2's coming for sure.
I kind of want to see this.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it wasn't terrible, and it wasn't even like there were. I mean, when you think about it, you're looking at it on paper, and you're looking at the trailers, and you're sort of thinking, like, how could this not be terrible? Just based on the history of video game movies, and it's a kids movie, basically, you know, like. But I wasn't unhappy that I sat and watched it. Like, if it was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Then we'd have a problem.
These reviews are great. I wouldn't turn it off. Jim Snedeker Jr. Love that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, it's not my type of movie, but it's not for me. Yeah. But enough of it is for me where I would sit through it. Whereas, like, my dad sat through Street Fighter. I didn't even want to sit through Street Fighter. I'm like, where's the Hadoukens? Where's the, like... What are you doing? Mario Brothers. You know, like, I, as a 9-year-old kid, was like, what the fuck am I watching here? There's a lizard guy, and they got gun boots, and that's how they jump high. And then, so, like, my parents didn't want to see that shit.
Yeah.
But this was like, oh, my kid's like, oh, Sonic that I know and love. And I'm like, okay, cool.
He's fast and blue.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I know we only have a couple minutes left here. But Jim, it wouldn't be Not Like This if we didn't talk about Halloween.
Halloween Kills or Ends?
And Halloween Kills, yeah, Halloween Kills specifically. Just more of a confirmation before we get out of here about how violent and amped up Halloween Kills is going to be, because the actor that plays Michael Myers, James Jude Courtney, says that it's going to be more brutal. He says, "We have to make the natural progression from 1978 to 2018 to Halloween Kills. The ante has been upped. The ticking bomb has to be more intense. Otherwise, we're just doing what we've done before. We pumped up the volume on this one. We've progressed late into the night, and now that everybody realizes what the stakes are, it's reaching ahead. It's the 2018 film on speed."
Now,
I love that.
You could definitely say, too, that the 2018 film really amps up the original.
Yeah,
You know,
that's that movie on speed.
And if this is like the next day or whatever, and it's amping that movie up, I just hope it makes, as long as it makes sense, as long as it doesn't like make it out of place or not feel like a Halloween movie, I think it'll be fine. I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so far so good with the test screening stuff. So the fact that I've yet to hear one negative thing, you got to be happy about that. Got to be happy about that.
So do you remember our friend Larry Zerner?
I do not.
Well, Larry Zerner was Zerner Law. He was our Friday the 13th guy, right?
Oh, shit. Jim, do you have a scoop for me?
He was talking about, hey, we'll find out on Friday the 13th what's going on.
Hmm?
And I don't see shit on here about it.
What? He didn't come through?
I just found it. He's got a breakdown.
Okay.
He's got a breakdown, but he retweeted it. That's what threw me off. But he retweeted Bloody Disgusting writing an article about his breakdown of the case.
It's not how you want to do that.
No. And then he plugs himself. Hey, while I'm breaking this down, if you need a lawyer, contact me here. Here's the oral argument. Okay, so there's some links. So what we will do next week, we will break down his breakdown. We'll cover
Little Friday the 13th.
a little Friday the 13th news. We'll end with some Halloween. We'll give you some Friday the 13th updates. The future of the franchise is sort of not hanging in the balance like it's going to disappear, but the future of, movies going forward, what's going to happen, are sort of hinging on what's going to happen with this case.
The future is now. Oh.
And as Scott well knows, we talk about two things a lot here. Halloween and Friday the 13th. and wrestling, but
you got lucky this week, fuckers.
yeah.
No wrestling this week.
No, but we'll make sure we'll do half wrestling next week for 30 minutes, and then the other 30 minutes will be this case about Friday the 13th, just for you guys.
And I won't look that up. I don't want to spoil myself, but that's it. That's exciting. Hopefully we'll get some fucking resolution on this somewhat soon.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that next week.
Can't wait. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Jim, plugs. Because I know you got a show coming up on the 29th.
I do. I have a show coming up with Dad Bod on February 29th. That's a Saturday at 18th Street Brewery in Hammond, Indiana. Come check us out. It's the last day of the month. It's a leap year show. Come see it. We won't be able to play it again for 4 years.
My plug is follow the Facebook page. We've been working on that. We've been having some fun with that, and it's really easy to get to facebook.com/notlikeThisPodcast. Trying to build that list up, and I don't watch it obsessively, but I do watch it.
Yes.
So hit that shit.
If you are a fan of the show and you're looking for more content, you want more episodes, longer episodes, we do movie companion commentary tracks, wrestling topics, you can go to Patreon and subscribe there. If you just want to help us out and subscribe, you can do that too. If you're not interested in the other shows or the other tiers, but that's at patreon.com/notlikethis. And we always have 2 premium episodes a month that you have access to through Patreon if you're so subscribed that way. And it helps us keep the show going, and it helps us bring you guys the free shows that you're used to every week.
Yeah.
So, big thanks to all of our patrons.
Thank you very much for listening. This has been episode 111. 111. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'm Sid Haig.
R.I.P.
Big Rip.